Why you should consider ham radio for communications. Why communicate at all? For our safety, edification, and survival, we need to know what is happening and what to do about it. As the plethora of prepper blogs and forums reveal, preppers have a lot to say, much of it informative, enlightening, and insightful, but some of it disinformation, illogical, unmitigated drivel, and even evil. We need to screen the nuggets from the waste. Logic, critical analysis, and a well-formed conscience helps us to do that. Even now, before events have hit nadir, we avoid controlled media. At best, mass media is useless. At worst, it is destructive to mind, body, and soul. What mass media provides is not news or information, but diversions, disinformation, outright lies, smut, and Hasbara. Thinking people have come to depend upon the alternative media of the internet, but when times gets worse, the internet kill switch will deprive us of that source. We will be in the dark unless we build alternative means and networks. Better to build now than during a crisis. Amateur radio, ham radio, is one way to build friendships and networks now, before catastrophe peaks. While preppers lean towards individualism, no single man, no single family can acquire all the necessary skills to thrive and even survive long term. No single man, no single family can rebuild a decent society. Very few amongst us can afford to acquire and advance all the stuff needed to thrive and survive. When times get worse, how are the decent people to share their resources, offer their skills, communicate their needs, barter for resources that are not locally available, provide real-time eyewitness news, and coordinate their good works? Want to reach a loved one when the cell system is overloaded or shut down? Have a denial of service attack? Use a ham radio. Community and hence communication are essential to the good task before us. We cannot replace the diabolical command and control structure or drain the elite's global cesspool unless we communicate with each other to build a decent and just society. You can be sure that our self-appointed masters and their puppets and enforcers will do their worst to oppose us. We need a leg up on them. The pre-bunking has begun. Amateur radio is one communication tool available to us all. My intent here is only to introduce the most basic information about ham radio to the uninitiated. So this brief column, all this information I will leave in the description just to give you a brief rundown, because to get your license you're going to need to know some of this stuff. And hopefully I'm not the only one taking all of this seriously. So a last word here. A loved one is dying, you are injured, your children are starving, and your home is under attack. Who are you going to call? How are you going to call? A last word, food for thoughts. One niche in ham radio is analog TV. Yes, you can send your own amateur analog videos by ham radio. The world has had little knowledge of and less sympathy for the genocide of the Palestinian people until photos and videos showed up with the horrifying tortures heaped on innocent Palestinian men, women, and children by perpetrators who perennially pose as victims. Images open the eyes of the world, even here in the United States, where the perpetrators and their accomplices control the media and own our legislators. In the same vein, do you remember how the American KGB kept reporters miles away from the Branch Davidians? Imagine how different the outcome at Waco if the Branch Davidians had transmitted to the world video footage of the attacks and tortures heaped upon them by the uninformed psychopaths. Imagine if the world had seen in real time what the FBI's own FLIR footage documented. Arson and murder under color of authority revealed too late in the documentary. Waco, a new revelation. That psychopaths dismounted from an army tank to set fire to the Davidians' home and then machine gunned men, women, and children as they attempted to flee the government arsonists. But that's just a conspiracy theory. Yes, imagine what the world would do to such perpetrators when evidentiary video escapes control of the gatekeepers. Document and distribute what you see. Talk to each other. Punish all the guilty. Leave the innocent alone. Help it happen. Get your fucking ham radio license.